Hey, I'm Chuck, the bureaucrat, and I want to ask you a question. What if I told you that your retirement pay could be reduced as a result of serving a longer term of service? What would you say? Well, if you're like most people, you would say there's no way that can happen. But it turns out it can. And what's more, Congress has a name for it. They call it pay inversion. Now, to be fair, since the 1960s, Congress has been working to stamp out every example of this that they find. But there is one known situation where you can lose thousands of dollars in retirement simply by making the wrong decision about something that, well, quite honestly, most people don't even know that they are making a decision about it. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to review Colonel Douglas Fowler's Air War College paper, The Cola Trap. At the end of this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 3 tactics that you can use to make sure that you get the most out of your retirement. To get started, we got to cover some basics. Retirement pay is based off of 5 things. The first 3 things most people know: length of service, a multiplier, which if you're a high 3 retiree, it's 2.5, and then there's the average of your 36 highest base pays. What some folks might not know, but they probably assume happens, is there's an annual cost of living adjustment, a COLA adjustment, that's made every year, and it's effective on the 1st of December. This is based on inflation as measured by the Consumer Price Index. What most people don't realize is there is a one-time partial cost of living adjustment that's designed to make up the difference for inflation between when you really retired and that first annual cost of living adjustment. And it is this one-time partial COLA adjustment where this whole pay inversion problem lives. Now, I'm not going to get into all the details about how each of these pieces are calculated because I want to focus on 2 elements. The first thing is that partial one-time COLA adjustment is applied and calculated on a quarterly basis. So if you retire on January 1st or March 1st, you get the same rate. Retire July 1st or September 1st, it's the same rate within the same quarter. The second thing is that the partial COLA is based on a kind of counterintuitive formula. It's calculated using the difference between the previous quarter's price index and a base price index. Now, if that sounds a little confusing, don't worry, you're in good company. Most people, if they think about this partial COLA adjustment at all, what they do is they assume that it's just a prorated version of the annual COLA adjustment, but it's not, and this is going to matter. Now, before I go on and give you the 3 tactics that you can use to avoid the risk of being a victim of a pay inversion, there's a couple of things I got to tell you. First, pay inversions don't always happen. There's plenty of people who are completely unaware of these factors, and just by luck, they're unharmed by them. So that's the first thing to keep in mind. The second thing is that because you got to plan your military retirement in advance, you don't know if there's going to be a pay inversion or not as you're making your plans. So these 3 tactics that I'm going to give you, what they're really meant to do is avoid the chances that you will be a victim of a pay inversion. All right, tactic number 1, you want to retire in the final month of the quarter. Now, one thing to keep in mind is most people who retire under normal conditions, their retirement is going to be effective on the 1st of the month. And that matters because if you're retiring on the 1st of, say, April, it's going to feel to you like you retired in March, but for paperwork purposes, it's actually in April. So you're going to want to retire on the 1st of the final month. Now, you're going to want to retire in the last month of the quarter for 2 reasons. Number 1, those extra 2 months are going to give you a longer length of service, and they're going to have a tendency to increase your average base pay over your last 36 months. The other reason that you do this is because The one-time partial COLA adjustment, since it's the same no matter where you retire in the month, retiring later in the quarter is to your advantage. The next tactic to use is just to avoid the third quarter, July, August, and September. Remember how I said that the one-time partial COLA rate is kind of got a funny function for how it's calculated? Well, according to Colonel Fowler, the third quarter tends to underperform the sort of intuitive prorated version. The third tactic is retire in March. In his paper, Colonel Fowler points out that what rules have been put in place by Congress to try to address this make March a month that is uniquely protected. Technically, January and February have similar protections, but retiring in March gets you the advantage of the increased length of service. So listen, retiring from the military is a complicated process. And this is just like any other financial decision you're going to want to make. That is, you need to take into consideration the unique factors of your own personal financial situation. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. But hopefully this video and Colonel Fowler's paper can help you understand better how to make a decision that many people don't even know they're making when it comes to your retirement. So if you're interested in more content like this, what I'd ask you to do is subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you think you know people who might benefit from this information, I encourage you to take this video and share it on the social media platform of your choice so that we can get the word out.